Yo, what up, guys? It's your boy Williams Fitness back again with another video. And as promised, we've got Marc Lobliner, aka Tiger Fitness, on the channel. Firstly, thank you for coming on, Mark. Absolute pleasure having you on, brother.
It's an honor and a pleasure, and sorry it took so long. I've been driving around the country, visiting all these vitamin shops, shaking babies, kissing hands, just doing what I do best.
Fox, you can put me off now with these little jokes, aren't you?
Hey, you know what? I know how you British are, man. Assuming you're British, you all sound the same to me. No, I'm saying, like, you guys have the best humor because it's so dry. And my dad had a dry sense of humor. So when I go to the UK, like, my buddies who are American are looking at y'all like, that's not funny. And I'm laughing my ass off. You just gotta, it's just, my dad is American, but he had like a British sense of humor, you know? So I absolutely, appreciate what y'all bring to the humor table.
All right, okay, brother. So what I want to do, obviously, this series is called Raw and Uncut. So obviously, I'll start off with a bit of background from how you got, sort of basically from childhood to bodybuilding. But I want to touch more on your entrepreneurial side and Outright Bar, Ambrosia, Tiger Fitness, MTS, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Going way back when, I know you're only a few years older than me, but
40 this year, man. 40.
Oh, 6 years older than me then.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Sorry,
is like
bro.
a young child.
So what sort of sports did you get into as a kid? What was your childhood like?
I played everything, man. I was an athlete, you know. I was starting center on my basketball team. Unfortunately, I never grew any taller. That was my first sport, believe it or not. Baseball, I was all-star every year. I played soccer one year. I was a goalie, made the all-star team in that. I had to give it up because I led the team in penalties as a goalie. I led the league in penalties. I had red cards. My mom was an Israeli soldier, and she told me if anybody comes near my goal box to go knock the shit out of them. And I did. And unfortunately,
literally,
that was frowned upon. Yeah, and that was frowned upon. So after that, I started playing football, and that became baseball and football were my sports. Freshman year in high school, we moved to like a bigger city where the team was really good. So I went from being the best to just a guy. I was the number 9 guy. Like, I was that close to losing my spot. And I realized that wasn't going to get me into school. I didn't have much money. You know, my parents couldn't afford to send me to college. And I wasn't in a good situation from a family standpoint. And I needed to get out. And so the only way I could do that was through sports. And football, American football, I found was amazing because all you really had to do was run into people and you could be good. You took no talent or skill. So that's why I played football. I'm not even joking. I played line. All you need, there's 3 moves on the defensive line. There's a swim move, an arm under, and then there's a bull rush. Like, you don't need like years of skill practice. You just literally run into motherfuckers. It was great.
So what did the football tie into bodybuilding? Did you start lifting weights to get bigger and stronger on the field?
Yeah, when I decided I wasn't that good at baseball, not good enough to do anything with it. I remember I was lifting one day, and I was a sophomore, and sophomore is 10th grade, or I don't know. I'm just trying to make it where everybody in the world can understand what I'm talking about. So basically, second year out of 4, and I was like, I'm gonna make this my sport. This is what I'm going to college with. And I had a coach, his name was Coach Carroll, and I was fucking around in the weight room. He looked at me and said, Lobliner, if you don't lift, you're not going to play a lick. He was a Southern guy from Kansas, had a fucking thick accent. This is in LA. So I'm like, what the hell did I get here? And nonetheless, that's when I realized that day, I'm like, holy shit, he's right. And so I met up with Coach Miles. He was, give you a visual perspective, 6'4", 280 pound, played in the CFL, just a beast, big dude. And then Leon Hatton, who was our outside linebacker a year ahead of me. And I went up to them after the regular football training. They were training. I'm like, hey, guys, I want to train with you. And they were like, Coach Miles was like, no, you can't hang with us. You're just a little white boy, you know? And I'm like, okay, I get it, but I think I can. So they said, if you can incline press, I forgot what it was, you can hang with us on incline press. We got you. I'm like, cool. And I almost died, but I hung with them. And that's when I became really close with Leon, Coach Miles. They took me under their wing. And I would weight train 3-4 hours a day. And I gained, true story, I gained 70 pounds in 2.5 months of mostly muscle. It was crazy. So that was when I fell in love with weight training, believe it or not.
So was that the precursor for Enhanced, the movie? No comments.
Well, the funny thing was I went and got drug tested in high school because everybody kept saying I was on steroids. And I didn't know what steroids was. I thought it was something you could get from like eating tainted meat, or like you could get like so you could shake somebody's hand and get steroids. I thought it was like a fucking STD or something. And I'm like, and I wasn't even having sex, so I knew no chick gave me steroids. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? And so I literally got tested, and I had really high testosterone, even for a 15-year-old, 14-year-old. And the doctor said that I had like I think he said I had hypergonadism. Basically, my balls were supercharged. And I also had very good affinity for growing muscle. So genetically, that's when I found out, oh shit, I might be good at this muscle building thing. And that's honestly, I made gains. Like I was known as that. My wife asked me out. She asked me out. She's standing right here, and she knows that it's the best decision she ever fucking made. No, but she asked me out, and I was literally known as that guy on steroids in high school. That was me. Like I had acne. I had every fucking sign. It was great. It was awesome.
So you've been quite open over the past few years about like your TRT and things like that.
Oh yeah.
So in high school, or maybe even into the early years of college and things like that.
Yeah.
Were you around steroids at that point? Did you ever, see anything going on? Were you ever thinking, could I push my body even more if I jumped on?
Our high school, like most of our guys ended up going D1, right? They ended Division I college. A lot of our team, they didn't need steroids. These guys were genetic freaks. We didn't have steroids in the locker room. All those stories you hear, it might be happening somewhere, but we were able to be a very formidable state level team without doing steroids. I mean, we had some big boys. We had one of the biggest offensive lines. This is in 1997 in California. Our line averaged 280 pounds. That was unheard of back then. These guys didn't need steroids. We were just some big, it was just, big ghetto kids, man. Like we were inner city big kids, and we were just mean. And we didn't have steroids back then. I know they existed. I heard stories about other schools like that team, like we talked about the rich schools had them. Like I don't even think anybody on our team could afford steroids. That's the problem. We would have done them. We just didn't have the money for them. Shit. I'd have been fucking all juiced up. I'd have been like Lyle Alzado and shit, man.
So obviously you've got a very, very, very like one of probably the leading people on YouTube for knowledge on nutrition. Obviously fitness to one side. I want to focus on nutrition and use that as sort of a segue into Tiger Fitness and MTS. Yeah. So did you pick up a lot of that knowledge? Was it proactively just for you specifically to get in fine tune with your own body, or were you learning because you just wanted to know everything about nutrition?
Well, it's part of my personality, and it's part of what I did. And I was fortunate enough, my first job, real job, like outside of, part-time jobs or just jobs here and there when I was just trying to make money, hustling. My job was at Weeder Publications. So I got to work alongside Dr. Jim Wright, Dr. Jeff Feliciano, all these guys who were geniuses, well ahead of their time. And so I remember we were talking about, low carbohydrate diets and bodybuilders in the late 90s, early 2000s, before it was even a thing. We were talking about all these things and insulin and all this stuff that I was very fortunate to be around those guys. And then I just kept learning. I kept reading studies, and I kept, as someone who wanted to get the most out of my physique, kept experimenting with myself and kept learning and knowing that my diet theories. I read some shit I wrote in like 2004, and I'm like, man, what idiot wrote this bullshit? Like, and it worked, It was bullshit, but it worked. At the end of the day, what I found it comes down to is caloric balance, getting adequate protein and adequate fat. Whatever you do with carbs is up to you. If you don't like carbs, don't eat carbs, whatever. But at the end of the day, I find if you check those boxes, you're going to get at least good results. Will it be optimal? Who am I to say? But I was fortunate enough to be around really smart people and not be stupid enough not to take advantage of that time. And Dr. Jim Wright, who passed away, I believe, 7 years ago, just a genius, man. He liked his liquor. So I remember I used to take him out to Morton's, and he'd get like $100 of martinis at lunch. Like, dude was a drunk. But you know how much knowledge I got from those lunches? You can't buy education like that. Like, I learned everything about steroids. I learned everything about training, nutrition. The guy wrote one of the first books on steroids. He's right there in my office. I'm going to take him to lunch as often as I can. So that's the thing. Surround yourself with people smarter than you, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Okay. So segueing from that, so obviously the nutrition side, when did Tiger Fitness launch?
Oh, man. So I started Civation in 2004. That was after failing as a partner with Sylvester Stallone and Instone. And I sold it in 2011. And at that point, I was honestly like, I was going to take a couple years off or do something else or actually get out of owning businesses. And honestly, this industry drives me crazy because I don't like some of the ethics and shit involved in this industry. It drives me up the wall. And so I was exploring different options. And, I actually had a concept for what you see with MTS and Tiger Fitness to have an autonomous supplement brand within a existing website that already has traction and people, and have it completely separate. Mainly because I had a 2-year non-compete, so I couldn't sell business to business, but I was able to sell a house brand, meaning it was available only with that location.
Okay, right, yeah.
So I actually approached a couple people, and they didn't quite agree with this view, which obviously they were wrong. And I went to at that time, a good friend of mine, and now my literally family, Chad, who's my partner in pretty much everything I do. And I'm like, hey, dude, here's this concept. And within 24 hours, we were partners. So that's how Tiger Fitness started. Tiger Fitness existed before Marc Lobliner. It was mainly a storefront in Cincinnati, Ohio, in the Oakley area, called Queen City Nutrition. And Tiger Fitness was literally a 300-foot storage area in the back. And we shipped out of there, and they did pretty good. And then when we teamed up, it's not because I'm great. It's because together, Chad and me, we have a lot of strengths that complement each other's weaknesses. And that's why together, I believe we're the perfect pairing.
So obviously going from Weeder to creating Tiger Fitness, what sort of processes in business did you have to adapt to very quickly and learn? Because obviously your background had to adjust dramatically to filter into the industry.
One thing you need to learn if you're not an invested company, and this is something you're not going to hear other bros who own supplement companies, because usually they're just a front. Usually it's owned by someone else and they have maybe a small percentage of it. They don't have to worry about the day-to-day. If you're not a company with venture capitalist money behind you, you're not gonna be able to pay your bills. You got to be willing to go 3 to 4 years without paying yourself one dime. You got to be willing to not make money. And if you hire people, if you have a bad month, you got to be willing to pay them and not pay yourself. And I think that's one thing is when you own a business, when you own a business, the main thing you need to look at, especially if you're a company operating on cash flow, like we've always been. We don't have any investors, no loans, no debt. Well, we have standard net 30 terms and things like that. But, what you got to realize is that cash is king. Cash flow is everything. And if you don't know how to balance cash flow, you're going to be out of business. 94% of businesses fail. I go into the Arnold in a month and show you companies that aren't going to make it to next year because they have these big booths. You've never heard of them. And you're like, okay, if they're already spending money on a fucking $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 booth, there's no way they're profiting that on fucking $40,000 in sales. So they obviously don't know what they're doing. So a lot of it is just standard scaling of business, which would have happened if I went into the watch business or the jewelry business or the hat business. Whatever business you're in, cash is king.
Okay, so we did briefly speak about, I was asked if you were coming to Body Power. And I obviously want to transition back to what you just said about the expos. I've got a meeting coming up with the CEO of Body Power because I was going to put forward some of the things that you'd said. And part of that was obviously, expos aren't getting the same numbers anymore, especially like Body Power, Fibo. I don't know what it's like stateside, but I think part of the issue is the costing per booth is far too high for the return on the ticket sales. And I think when the booth cost is too high, a lot of these big brands can't afford to pay athletes. And I mean real athletes, not Instagram people.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Instagram people are athletes. It takes a lot to set up that camera and do that booty shot, man.
If you could put one thing forward to the CEO of Body Power, what would it be?
Honestly, Body Power it's a great expo. They bring in a lot of celebrities. I think the booth cost is honestly for what they offer. It's okay. What I found last year is the traffic wasn't that great. At least not where we were standing. Maybe it's just because we sucked, but there were some people who absolutely killed it. But again, the market is different in the USA. And I think a lot of these shows, I almost think it's a big space. Like it's almost like the Arnold, if you notice, it's a small room with a lot of people. To walk from one end of Body Power to the other, even with nothing in between, takes you a day. And I don't know how to rectify that. It's such a lot's going on. It's hard to say. And also, it's in Birmingham, which is kind of not London. It's kind of far out for people. So I don't know if you're going to get the attendance in Birmingham that you're going to get in London.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a cost thing, but it's really hard as a U.S. company to fly out because you got to get your supplies out there. You got to get your product. There's customs to deal with. So it's a tough situation to get U.S. brands. And we're in a pretty U.S. dominated marketplace. At the end of the day, their main competitor is FIBO. So how do you go up against FIBO, which is an absolute giant? So I don't really have an answer. I'm not good at trade shows. I don't do trade shows for a reason. You know, I mean, I do the booth, and I'll be at the Arnold, nice booth, obviously with Ambrosia and Mike and CT. We're at all the expos, and you know, we see a lot of Body Powers. It's the show in the UK, 100%.
Okay, so segueing from that then to obviously Ambrosia, like you just mentioned, Mike and CT and stuff. Obviously CT's recently joined you, Sean, and Mike. Is that right?
Yeah.
How did Ambrosia all come about? Because obviously I presume you and Mike have been friends for a while, or maybe Sean.
So basically, at that time, Mike was he owned AMSO Alpha, had AMSO Alpha, and Sean had HPN, and I have MTS and Tiger. And we really just, honestly, we wanted to come out with the greatest nootropic ever. And we all had our ideas. And then we just said one day, why don't we come together and come up with the greatest nootropic ever and start a new company? And that's kind of how it happened. And from there, you know, I expected to be a 1 to 2 product company, to be the fastest growing plant-based protein in the country, to be, you know, on the cutting edge of health products like Nectar and products beyond sport nutrition like Mental Jewels is something that's awesome. And we should have expected to happen because myself, Sean, Mike, and now CT, we're all kind of guys who we never stop. Like, we're not gonna be like, you know, it's good enough here. So we're always looking to level up to make it better. And that's where I think that that this company, there's no limit to where Ambrosia can go.
So what was the reason for getting CT on board? Did he approach you? Did you approach him? Did he have to invest in the business ahead of time?
Yeah, CT's at a different stage of his life now where he's not about, he fits Ambrosia perfectly. Think about it. CT, you know, you're not going to believe a guy with a heart transplant is going to be downing as 800 milligram of caffeine pre-workout, right? CT actually uses Ambrosia. He actually believes in it. He believes in Planta. He supplements his diet with it. He uses Nectar because of all its health benefits. You know, CT it's a consumer. Ambrosia consumer goes from anywhere from my daughter takes Nectar so she stays healthy during soccer tournaments, to my wife and I take it, to a guy like CT who's older, who again has some health problems, is looking to optimize himself. It just fell into place, you know. Not going into specifics, we were talking one day and we found a way to get CT on board as a vested partner, as someone who could be a real part of the company, not just a paid athlete, not just a spokesperson, but someone, because he believes so much in it. He's like, what can we do? And I was the first one, you know, we were, all of us at the same time, were the first one to be like, this makes sense. And for people like us who, it's very hard for us to be like, you know what? We need another guy to take a piece of the pie, right? But if there's anybody who deserves it, who speaks the message, it's CT Fletcher.
100%. So, following on from that, obviously you've got plans to compete at the end of this year. Is that right? December.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is that the what was it? Mr. World?
It's a USA Masters USA.
Masters, right? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm old and all the good bodybuilders died around 37. So at 40, I figure nobody else will show up, so I might have a chance.
Fuck it. Do you think Tony Hughes will turn up?
Hey, you know what? It'd be great.
I do watch your vlogs.
Because I would love to have someone who's reckless with drug use. I have nothing wrong with that. I don't care. Look, it's not a tested event. And if it was, they wouldn't give a shit. Arnold did propose we want to test for IFBB. Now, that'll work. He didn't get tested when he was competing. Arnold, I'm going to a show. I don't want him to ban me from a show. He's been saying some real stupid shit lately.
He used to do like handfuls of D-ball, even in his non-biography. There's just loads of literature of the shit he was popping.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, he's a, you know, former governor. Well, I don't even know what he's doing right now. But anyway, so and he's a vegan. Maybe we should give him a piece of Ambrosia. But anyway, I would love to see reckless drug use versus very controlled, very healthy HRT. And I know there's genetics and other things involved, but if someone goes on the record saying that steroids replace hard work, let's prove them wrong.
Well, I've got Tony Hughes, Dr. Khan from Transform Now, who
Okay.
does the blood work for actual athletes in the UK. He's a leader in it. So I'm doing a podcast with him and another UK pro bodybuilder, Dean Lesiak, so we can all go back and forth, pretty much at Tony to just put him in his place a little bit.
I think there's a fine line between honesty and danger. And I think when you start advocating the use of DNP and other items and call them safe, and I'm one of those guys who, look, DNP might have applications. I just read today that they're actually studying it. I forgot what it's for, but for actual clinical application. And you can overdose on water. It's just the problem with DNP is unless it's controlled and it's dosed correctly, you're literally a couple milligrams off from burning it from the inside out, and just 100. You're gonna die. You're gonna die if you overdo it. So, but when you go on and you tell people to take all those drugs, it's just a dangerous situation to be in.
Well, my argument with that was I had a bilateral pulmonary embolism from taking like stupid amounts of steroids. Literally,
you're not
like
the first I've heard. Yeah.
Honestly, mate, it was copious amounts. I'm on drugs for life now because of it. So I sort of, when I had him on, I thought, I don't think I've done the right thing because he sort of took over the podcast. So I thought, right, if I get these other people in, sort of like claw back some dignity a little bit.
Oh, no, I think Tony's a great guy. I really enjoy talking to him. I think he's a nice guy. But that doesn't mean we can't have philosophical or differences in what we promote and what we do. I'm very fortunate moving to Tennessee. Like, my wife and I become friends with, Brandon and Brandy Curry and, a lot of people in the Kuklos and all those guys who now we have around us regularly. And, what's funny is those guys would never say that. I don't think those guys would even take near the dose of Tony Hugin. Those are international, like, superstars, like top IFBBs. And I don't want to sound like an asshole, but this is the truth. I know a lot of naturals, legit naturals, like Matthew Lillard, who's an IFBB pro, who would beat Tony in any bodybuilding show and honestly be accused of drugs before he would. So I'm okay with that. If you want to take drugs and look normal, that's fine. But don't go saying no, I'm just being real, but don't be saying that drugs replace hard work, because that's not the fact, or else I'd be hitting home runs like Barry Bonds. It just doesn't, man. It just doesn't. It might replace. If you want to take drugs to look mediocre or look average and not train hard, look, that's on you. That's your prerogative. I don't care if people inject nitric oxide in their penis. I don't care. At the end of the day, it's your body, your choice. But when people start promoting it as okay, that's when I have a problem.
Yeah, 100%. So to wrap up, I've got some fan questions. Are you cool with these?
Sweet. Oh, I'm good with everything.
The first one I had to go with, did Brad Castleberry ever get back to you?
Oh, man, that's old news. Yeah. Funny thing is, I don't really, and this is like, I'm being on, I get in trouble for being honest, but I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. I don't think, and this is true, I'm not joking. I'm not even joking. I stopped talking about Brad because I think it's going to come out 100% truth honest. I don't think he's all good up here. Like, because I saw him in person at the Olympia, and he's literally he's literally standing alone doing what he does when people are around, like in front of the camera. I think he's crazy. Like, there's something wrong. It's going to come out that he has some kind of mental disorder. I have no doubt in my mind something's wrong. Not wrong, but there's something not what we consider normal. And then when it comes out, everybody who's dissing him, it's like, dude, you straight up were messing with a mentally handicapped dude. I really truly think that
called a bully.
I know. Well, I really truly think that kid's not operating with a full deck. There's something off with him. Like, look at who does that? Like, come on, man. That's
you don't even need to say anything more on it. You don't even need.
But I'm being real. I'm not going to say who I was having this conversation with. It wasn't even my concept. He's like, it's obviously someone I'm close to. He's like, bro, I don't talk about that guy because, like, something's not right with him. And he used he said he had a condition. I don't want to say that because someone watching this might have a family member. Oh, why are you talking about it? And he's like, dude, he definitely has that. And I'm like, well, you're right. I'm like, yeah, 100%.
It's one of them things. The second you point it out, it becomes apparent, doesn't it?
That guy's not right, man. There's something wrong with him. Not that he's not right, but he's not all there. Like, there's something off. But God bless him for having that and being able to be relatively successful in fitness. My hat off. I'm not going to hate on him. Look, man, if you can, I can't even bench 7 plates of fake weights. So he's stronger than me. like even I couldn't even lift that shit if it was fake. So I'm good with this. He's stronger than you. I'm like, yeah, he fucking is. No shit. But that doesn't mean those weights weren't fake. This isn't a contest. Well, you couldn't lift those. I'm like, you're right. I couldn't. But they were fake. It doesn't matter. That's not the argument. But that's why I don't talk shit. But no, he never got back to me, and he just blocked me from his page because I didn't even say anything on his page. People kept tagging me in. So
he was just get rid of you.
Yeah, good for him. I do the same.
So obviously we've got to touch on the outright bar, and I was going to do that with one of the questions. Someone wants to know when the outright bar is coming to the UK. You have got an outlet here, haven't you, in the UK?
Oh yeah, we're with Protein Bargain Wholesale. That's what they are. So we're with them.
Text me the link. I'll put it in the description.
I will. So Protein Bargain, they're doing a great job. Phenomenal people. Wes and those guys have just been beyond great to work with. They've gotten us phenomenal distribution throughout the entire country, throughout the entire European Union. They're great to have. They're just a great partner to have. So yeah, we've been doing very well up there, and we're very happy with what they're doing.
Okay, so what is the plan with the outright bar? Because obviously, I mean, do you want to like run this for long term? Do you want to do like the Coke deal and get millions and millions for it and just go settle down? What's the long term goal? Have you even thought that far ahead?
I'm pretty outright with my opinion on this. Pretty honest. It's such a cliche term. You know what? With the outright bar, I think that I think with bars, there's a level you could take them. For example, if you're with a store like Target, they require a $50,000 slotting fee just to get into their store, and then another tens of thousands per flavor. You're looking at $100,000 just to get a couple products in the store. So I think that with the resources I have, I could take the bar to a certain level. At that point, a company like Hershey, who just bought one for $397 million, or the Atkins Group, who just bought Quest for $1 billion. I'm not greedy. I'll settle for $250 million. No, I'm just playing. I'm not greedy. No, I'm saying that I know that how long it's going to take is beside the point. And if it kicks that level, that's great. But, I think that to say that, I'm going to keep this till the day I die would be presumptuous, but to put a timeline on it would also be presumptuous. So I'm taking it a day at a time, and we're growing it phenomenally. We've had tremendous growth. We have some great business partners in Europa Sports and Muscle Foods, with obviously regional stores like Natural Body, with the Vitamin Shop internationally. We've had some really great success. Sportica internationally with those counts. So we've had some really, really great partners. And the thing is, I'm a one-man team. Like, I have a team. My wife, Matt, myself are the only full-time employees. And I'm not, you can even consider me full-time because I had all this stuff going on. But we literally are doing this with 3 full-time people. So that's what's really cool.
For the outright bar.
Yeah, my wife and
3
I
people.
I have a guy, Matt. Matt Tucker is the most valuable player. This guy he's life. Like, he gets it done. He gets done all the international paperwork. All the orders are processed. He collects the money. He does everything. He's the outright bar. Like, I'm just the guy. Like, he's the company. Like, Matt is the dude. 100%.
Wow. Okay.
And my wife does a little bit of stuff. She mostly just annoys me.
Oh.
Can you believe she lied and said that she came up with the name? I'm playing. She did come up. She came up with the name.
Yeah, she needs a bigger cut, I think, brother. You're on a
bigger
sex
cut. All she has to do is divorce me. She gets half of everything we've ever made. I think that's a hell of a...
Say it out loud.
It's cheaper to kill her, cheaper to keep her. Oh, I mean, that came out wrong.
So I've got 2 more questions. I've just kept these quite simple. Somebody wants to know what your actual dose is for your TRT, and is that a lifelong thing, or do you have to cycle TRT?
That's a good question. I love answering this because it's what I do. So I'm on 200 milligrams of testosterone, and I found a delicate balance. Like Deca, my kids are, but let's say that I had some side effect from Deca at a dose that I was told to take that I never want to happen again in my life. Nor does Katie. Yeah, should know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So at about 50, I'll put that around 50 milligrams just for joints. So around 250 milligrams total. I take 500 micrograms of HCG twice a week. And then I have HGH at 2 IUs a day. And I believe, and Armour thyroid, because my thyroid was sluggish. For whatever reason, my metabolism's great, but I don't know how that thing works, like the whole system. How I can have a great metabolism and a shitty thyroid, but it wasn't terrible. So I'm on Armour, which is a very mild. It's not like T3, T4. It's from porcine, so it's a pretty mild, natural thyroid kind of product. So I'm not on like crazy. Again, like I said, like I'm on a very sane dose. My test levels remain between 12 and 1500 a year for blood work every time I get it run. So I'm pretty happy with that dose, and I don't see me needing to go any higher or anything because I'm making gains and I'm happy. Everything works.
Making gains.
Yeah.
One of the questions was, because you obviously travel a lot promoting the Outright Bar, Ambrosia, conventions, etc. How do you find the time to not only maintain your physique, but improve on your physique whilst traveling?
5 a.m. Get up at 5 a.m. or get up at 4:30. Get to the gym right when it opens at 5 a.m. No matter where you are, there's a gym open at 5 a.m. It's all gravity. I usually set around 2 to 2.5 hours where I can do usually warm up with 20 minutes of cardio when I train first thing in the morning. My body is not ready. So usually I'll do like 20 minutes on a step mill. By that time, my body's ready. I eat an outright bar beforehand to get some nutrients in me. I don't do that fasted shit. Get my class, get my pre-workout. I mean, if someone were to follow me, exactly what I'm saying, this isn't a front. And then I train, and then I'm done, and I go off to where I need to go. Usually my meetings start around 9 to 10 a.m., so that gives me plenty of time. And if it's actually going to be tight, what I do is I go to the gym. I take a towel from the hotel, and I shower at the gym. So it's really not that difficult, man. I mean, you just have to be resourceful. And there's nowhere I travel where there's not a gym. At least somewhere. It might not be the best gym, but there's going to be some gravity. There's going to be something to lift within 5 miles.
Okay, fair point. Finally, someone's asked, and I think this is a brilliant question, who is the Outright aimed at?
Everybody. I hate to say that because I used to make fun of people saying there's no target that is everything to everyone, but it was originally created for my kids. My daughter, specifically, it was when I was at my daughter's soccer game. I believe it was at a tournament, and she was like 10 years old. And she had 4 games in one day. My daughter plays center mid at the time, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, you British. And so she was running like 6-7 miles a game, and I'm like, and you can't feed them food between games; it'll puke during the next game. Can't feed them a Quest bar because there's 15 grams of fiber. Can't feed them a Cliff bar or a Z bar, which are basically just carbs, so there's nothing to sustain energy. And I'm like, man, I really need. They need a bar. Like I want to make them something at home just so they can eat. And so I also was like, well, what if I can make it with enough protein for me, but not too much for them? And it would be perfect, healthy fats, superfood carbohydrate that sustains them. So I want a carb that will last. So what's a low glycemic carb? You got oats and honey. Done. What's a good monounsaturated fat? Peanut butter. Okay. What's the best protein you could get? Whey isolate. We got something. Now you just got to figure out how to make it work. And took 3 years, but we finally were able to develop the Outright Bar. And so it's formulated for kids, but it has all the nutrients adults need. Is it a straight up?
So I could give my little boy's 4.
Yeah.
He lives with me full time. So I could quite literally give him one of them as and when. If he's hungry for a snack, just.
My 7-year-old Preston's been eating for the since it's been out, 3 to 5 a day. That's all the kid eats. He wakes up in the morning. That's his breakfast. We have to actually restrict his outright intake. He's at like 4, so we limited to 4 a day. But if we let him, he'd be up to 6 or 7. The kid, and he got really mad because he loved the seasonal peppermint cookies and cream flavor. We ran out of those. He threw a fit. He just he was just like, he's like, bro, So no, but I mean, it was formulated for my kids. But the thing is that I go into more and more vitamin shops. Most of their during the day customers are elderly people picking up their vitamins, right? And they're down. They're like, this is amazing. So you need something that hits a lot of the health angles people want: monounsaturated fats, healthy carbohydrate, higher protein. But the main thing is taste. You need it to taste phenomenal. And there's not a bar out or ever will be that will out taste the Outright Bar.
Yeah, I can remember my little boy Kingsley tried. I think it was, what was it? It was an Optimum Nutrition one or something a while back.
Yeah.
It was absolutely disgusting. And he looked at me like, Dad, why have you just given me this crap?
Yeah, I forgot where I was, but I think we're sampling things. I actually tried another bar, and I used to like bars. I'm not going to lie. Like, I used to eat Quest bars all the time. I had to stop because I have irritable bowel syndrome. I used to love Quest bars. I used to love One bars. There's videos of me down in cookies and cream One bars, like they're going out of style. I used to love those things. But now that I've tried better, that I've tried the outright bar, that I've made it, I could be partial. I mean, obviously it's my bar. I'm going to be partial to it. But, like if my daughter's in a singing contest, I'm going to probably, even if she sucked, I'm like, she was the best. Not that that's happened. She's a great singer. But yeah, I think we've kind of spoiled it for everybody. It's going to be really hard to get. How do you beat that flavor profile, that mouthfeel? It's really going to be hard. So, and that's the greatest thing is I don't think you can beat our taste and our flavor, and that's number one.
I've not yet tried it, Mark.
Well, that's a problem, man. We're gonna have to fix that.
Yeah, I had Mac Chuck on the other day, and he is not impressed with you, brother. He's in prep, and you sending him boxes and boxes.
I did. So Matt, my boy Mac, I had the Tiger Fitness fanny pack. He's like, when'd y'all get fanny packs? I went to train with him before we had the LA fan. He's like, bro, oh dude, I'm gonna send you one. He's like, just don't send me bars because I can't not eat them, and I'm trying to keep my macros in check. And like, no problem. So I sent him like 20 boxes. He's like, I don't know whether to thank you. I don't know whether to thank you or hit you.
Bro, he was so excited. We come off the recording. He's like, have you seen my fanny pack? Have you seen it? And he was showing me this fanny pack.
It's a dope fanny pack.
He said some woman came up to him in the gym and she was like, you're wearing that wrong. And he was like, sorry, what? She's like, yeah, you're wearing it wrong. It doesn't go on the side. It goes on the front. Wow.
Nah, man. Nah, he's wearing it like we did in the 90s, man. Like Max old like me. Like we used to wear it on the side. Because,
style it out.
Well, because fronts were like old people wore it, and at that time we were young, so we were able to pull it off. So put it on the side. That was like wearing your hat backwards. It was like a rebellion thing.
So to wrap up then, brother, is there anything that you want to announce? Anything coming up? Any websites? Because obviously you do online coaching and all that kind of other stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, what the main thing is, we're just growing. We're having a good time doing it. We have Tiger Fitness is still absolutely destroying it in the online marketplace, and MTS Nutrition, respectfully so. And the outright bar, we have 2 new flavors coming out in the next 2 weeks, which will be the crisp bar, which actually tastes like a Nestle Crunch bar. It has 20 grams of protein, so it has the same amount of protein as the higher protein bars. So no one can say again, hey, why does it only have 15? Okay, here's your 20 grams of protein, all right, bro? Not like you need another gram of chicken your next meal, but bodybuilders don't think much, and then that's why I like selling to kids. They don't, they're not like, bro, I'm gonna replace that 5 grams of protein. I don't know, maybe eat an extra bite of chicken your next meal. So we have that. We also have a completely, I'm not going to say it, but it lacks, we don't put any allergen containing ingredients in it, meaning it's made of sunflower seed butter. There's no nuts, no peanuts, and it's vegan. So it is a sunflower seed butter based chocolate chip, which is astounding. And we just actually approved 2 new flavors today. Is
that for snowflakes?
It's, what? I always get
snowflake approved.
I get caught up on this on Twitter, and you know what? You have Democrats, you have Republicans. At the end of the day, everybody needs a delicious bar. Hey, you know what? If Bernie Sanders wants to eat the bar, he can eat it alongside Trump. I don't care. As long as I'm not only fueling the economy, I'm fueling individuals.
What a way to sign off, brother.
Yeah. So anything you guys need, let me know. I'm always available. You guys can find me on Instagram at Marc Lobliner, obviously Tiger Fitness on YouTube, and all the above. I'm not hard to find.
Awesome. Mark, thank you so much again for coming on, brother. And I will put all your links in the description below.
Thank you much, man. Appreciate it.